Jim Gaffigan this morning is running on empty.
There are simple annoyances in modern life. We've all woken up to discover our cell phone, which had been charging overnight, was, well, not charging overnight, and is dead or almost dead. Either way, an existential panic sets in. Oh no! How will your day go on without your phone? Is it even possible to go about your day without a charged phone? For most of us, the memory of discovering an uncharged phone is seared into our consciousness. Most of us, just not my children. Yes, my beautiful, intelligent children struggle with keeping a phone charged. Well, I shouldn't say struggle. They make no effort. To clarify, when I say children, I'm not talking about toddlers or newborns. I'm talking about teenage human-like creatures who somehow possess the ability to make Nintendo and Roblox purchases with my credit card, somehow can't figure out how to insert a lightning cord connected to an outlet into a phone. After repeatedly explaining the complex process of charging a cell phone to my brilliant children, my wife and I caved and bought some portable chargers. These are external batteries one can grab and use when someone forgets to charge their phone overnight. These external batteries were charged the night before. You know how a logical person might charge their phone. Anyway, my kids then take these external batteries, charge their phones, and lose them throughout New York City. If I'm not painting enough of a maddening scenario, you should know this. On numerous occasions, I've discovered my brilliant children sitting in their room near an outlet using a portable external charger to charge their phone. The outlet's right there with a phone charger plugged into the wall, but instead of they are using a portable charger, which is... Anyway, I love being a dad.
Seth Doan has sent us this postcard from Tuscany, partly because he had no other choice. He'll explain.
This village in Tuscany, framed by cypress trees, does not just appear tranquil.
The silence and
It's beautiful. The only thing you hear is people talking in the street.
The ambient sounds here are that of conversation, and not on a cell phone.
Signal?
nessun servizio, as we say.
No service.
No service.
Pretty
yes.
typical.
Yes, yes.
Carlo Ducci grew up near Galliano di Mugello and wrote a guidebook about this place.
This is a part of Tuscany that's a little lesser known.
Yes, it's a hidden jewel.
A medieval jewel with a modern distinction. While it was once part of the fiefdom of the mighty Medici family, now it's noteworthy for the lack of power overhead. There's no cell phone service.
Giorno.
The town butcher runs his business mostly by landline.
No line at all, no bars at all.
He does keep a mobile phone handy, but not for calls.
Stai giocando. You're playing a game.
This town is not alone. There are 91 municipalities across Tuscany struggling with cell phone service in a country which is surprisingly way behind technological times. Italy ranks near the bottom of the European Commission's Index of Digital Competitiveness, just behind Latvia, Czech Republic, and Croatia.
Per me non era un grosso sacrificio.
For me, it's not a big sacrifice, butcher Andrea Guasti told us. But for those who need to work or are involved in long-distance learning, there are great difficulties. And they go to great lengths, as we learned on this long road on the outskirts of town.
Vieni qua a studiare. You come here to study?
Sì, vengo qui spesso.
Yes, I come here often when the house doesn't have internet, Gregorio Ferretti told us. This 17-year-old says nearly once a week he has to hike up here as the slightest weather disruption knocks out their already shaky internet. There's no mobile service in town.
Hai segnale? Do you have a signal?
Sì.
But up here, he can get a little signal.
Tre bar.
3 bar non sono male, non sono male.
That's not bad. 3 bars is not bad.
Online learning, prompted by the pandemic, has created particular problems in this place, only eased a bit by the view.
Sappiamo trovare il bello nelle
We have found the beauty of life and the connection between friends, he told us, but we are a little isolated.
Però siamo un po' isolati.
At the local inn, owner Valentina Parini felt that isolation. She has a landline at reception, but that wasn't very helpful last winter when she was sleeping upstairs with just her cell phone and heard a burglar. I tried to call police from all corners of the room, she told us.
How hard was it to get a line that night on the phone?
20 minuti.
20 minuti, 20 minutes.
Sì.
Qualunque compagnia privata fa un investimento se ha un ritorno economico.
The village's mayor told us there's not enough profit in this tiny town for telecom companies to invest.
This is more than just an inconvenience, though. It can also be a public safety issue, a hazard.
Noi sindaci l'abbiamo messa.
We have a civil protection plan, Gian Piero Mongatti told us. For example, in December 2019, we had a seismic event. We tried to reach residents, but they were outside where there was no signal. So we had to send out the police with a megaphone.
Con il megafono a dare l'indicazione ai cittadini.
He's hopeful millions of euros in new European Union funding aimed at closing the digital divide could help Italy.
Ora la battaglia è ottenere una soluzione.
Now the battle is to find a solution, he said, and then we have the battle of fighting for the timeline.
It sounds like with no offense, it sounds like a very Italian situation.
Lo volevo dire io.
I would have said the same, he admitted. But while the practicality of this poses a challenge, in a place with no cell phones ringing or dinging, residents told us they have found the joy of conversation in person. So perhaps they're better connected after all.
You not only shepherded the creation of this very first cell phone, but I believe you also made the very first public call out on the streets of New York.
Yeah, I did. There's nothing more worthless than having two people sitting in there talking to each other when you're trying to talk about the freedom that you get from having a cell phone. So we met this guy on 6th Avenue, New York, in front of the Hilton, and we walked down the street, and then I had to make a phone call to demonstrate it. So, and I know it doesn't sound reasonable, but it was serendipitous that I thought, I'm going to call my counterpart in the Bell system. And I took out my paper phone book to give you an idea of, how we used to do it. And I looked up the number of Joel Engel, who ran the Bell system car telephone program.
This is your arch rival.
Yeah, he was. And I dialed his number. And amazingly, he answered, not his secretary. And I said, hi, Joel, it's Marty Cooper. He said, hi, Marty. Very polite. And I said, Joel, I'm calling you on a cell phone, but a real cell phone, a personal, handheld, portable cell phone. Silence on the other end of the line. So we had my recollection, a nice conversation. Joel does not remember that conversation to this day, and I guess I don't blame him.
Well, I mean, you were rubbing your heel in his face in a way.
Yeah, well, he deserved it.
It's Sunday morning on CBS, and here again is Jane Pauley.
Those tumbling boxes in the 1980 film Airplane are wooden telephone booths, like this shinier 1950s era model with its rotary phone. For some of our younger viewers, a phone booth might as well be a monolith from another world. With Mo Rocca, we remember the good old days.
What is this made of?
Some of you
may recognize this coin-operated curiosity.
It's ringing. Hey, how are you? It's Mo.
It's called a phone booth. Phone booths used to be everywhere, providing an office for Agent Maxwell Smart. And a sanctuary for Tippi Hedren from killer seagulls in The Birds. Now they're so rare that Peter Ackerman wrote a children's book about this one of only 4 remaining outdoor phone booths in all of Manhattan.
I walk past this phone booth every day with my kid when he was 3 years old, and at a certain point he said to me, "Why is that phone in a box?" And I realized that he didn't know what a phone booth was, which is so bizarre.
Are you coming to use the phone booth?
He is.
Are you serious?
Yes.
For kids, the phone booth has become something of a novelty.
Kids today hanging on the phone all day long.
All day long. Can't get them all.
Hi.
But grown-ups
It's a phone booth.
can't be bothered.
No, you can call anyone. But it sounds better if you use the payphone. Would you like to use one? No. Could you make a call? You can call anyone with it. Okay.
The first public coin-operated payphone appeared in Hartford, Connecticut in 1889. The first phone booth debuted in the early 1900s. The 1970s brought those semi-enclosed pedestal-style payphones, which most of us, Superman included, found lacking. By the 1990s, there were nearly 3 million payphones in America. But now, just a small fraction remain.
Hello?
Hi, is this Mark Thomas?
Oh, this is Mark, yes.
Mark, I think this is probably easier if we just do this face-to-face.
Oh, okay. Oh, look at that.
Hey, I'm Mo. We were just talking on the phone.
Yeah, how about that?
Mark Thomas created the Payphone Project, an online database that keeps track of the remaining payphones around the world.
What did the payphone do to deserve this?
Well, the payphone didn't do anything. The cell phone came along.
That's right, our phones got smart. So smart they began putting payphones out of business.
Do you see the cell phone as sort of an arriviste, as someone that sort of came along and stole the thunder of the payphone?
It stole its relevance. And it made communication so simple and so trivial even that this became a laborious way to make a phone call.
In New York, and maybe coming soon to a city near you, payphones are being replaced by these kiosks, offering phone calls, free Wi-Fi, internet service, and a port to charge your cell phone.
Aren't people on their cell phones enough?
Jen Hensley is with the company installing them.
Well, people are on their phones all the time, and this allows them a free way to offload their data plans for people who don't have access to mobile plans or data. We're offering that for free, so we think it's a really important public service.
I approached this sleek and shiny upstart gingerly and called the only person whose number I actually still remember, my mother.
I'm calling you from a special free phone on the street. You're on TV right now.
Oh. Which channel?
CBS, Ma. The show that I'm on, CBS Sunday Morning.
Okay. I'm going to look.
No, you're not on live right now. Sorry, no, are you still there?
My mother hung up on me, but I can't blame the kiosk for that. Yet even with all these bells and whistles, my heart belonged to the old-timey phone booth.
I'll make a call.
I knew you would. I knew you'd come around. Reach out. You can call anyone.
Touch someone. Adam?
Yes, there's nothing like reaching out
We're calling you from a phone booth.
and touching someone.
Hello, good morning. How are you?
From a phone booth.
Hey, look!
Oh, and it turns out Manhattan's 4 remaining outdoor phone booths are free of charge.
Now everyone will want to use the payphone.
So yes, we got our quarters back.
Whoever first said, "Hold the phone," could never have imagined this one. It's an original iPhone, part of the first generation of iPhones that went on sale to much hoopla 10 years ago this coming Thursday. Our cover story is reported by David Pogue, tech critic for Yahoo Finance.
There's been a lot of talk about the soon-to-be-released iPhone.
It's got everything you need, all wrapped up in one.
The Apple Store staying open until midnight to meet the huge demand.
iPhone! 10 years ago this week, the iPhone arrived in stores, and the world hasn't been the same.
I got the iPhone! Check that out!
Because of the iPhone, we now take it for granted that we're on the internet all the time. Because of the iPhone, we have everything in this old Radio Shack ad in our pockets: computer, calculator, camcorder, alarm clock, phone, music player, answering machine, and tape recorder. Because of the iPhone, hardly anyone buys maps anymore, or pocket cameras, or watches. And because of the iPhone, we've become a nation of distracted drivers, distracted walkers, and distracted dinner companions. Until the iPhone, cell phones were clunky. The Blackberry was king. And Apple co-founder Steve Jobs was working in total secrecy at the company's California headquarters on a device that would soon change all that. In January 2007, he took the stage to unveil it.
An iPod, a phone, and an internet communicator. An iPod, a phone. Are you getting it? These are not three separate devices. This is one device. And we are calling it iPhone.
That iPhone wouldn't actually go on sale for another 6 months. During that time, nobody outside Apple was allowed to see the phone or touch the phone. The hype machine went into overdrive.
Hello. Hello.
Especially after 40 million viewers saw this commercial on that year's Oscar broadcast. And then, 2 weeks before the phone went on sale, Apple quietly handed iPhones to 4 tech reporters to review. Stephen Levy, then of Newsweek, Ed Begg of USA Today, Walt Mossberg, then of the Wall Street Journal, and me, then of the New York Times.
We had 2 days between the time our review came out and the thing went on sale. I've never been more popular in my life. I wish I had this thing in high school, you know?
In celebration of the iPhone's 10th birthday, the first 4 people outside Apple ever to use an iPhone sat down to reminisce.
Steve called us all while we had it, right?
Yeah.
We're walking down the
He called
street.
me multiple times a day. How's it going? I go, Steve, it's not the way I do reviews. I'll call you. I said, we'll talk, but don't worry about it.
There was a lot missing from this phone. People forget. It had no front camera. It didn't have a flash for pictures.
It didn't have cut and paste.
Didn't have cut and paste. It couldn't record video. And you couldn't even send a picture as a text message.
And I've got this little keyboard, which is phenomenal. It does.
The most radical aspect of the iPhone was that it was all touchscreen. It had no physical keys for typing.
After 3 days, I was ready to throw this thing out of the window for trying to type on glass. It was just so hard.
It's 10 years later, and half the emails I get still have a little message underneath saying, typed on phone, forgive typos.
Yeah, that's true.
On the other hand, making the entire phone a screen unleashed a world of possibilities. It was a huge canvas for photos, videos, maps, and web pages. It could change its look for each app. And it meant that Apple could design a whole new way to interact with machines.
Yeah, it's a little cracked screen, but that's the first iPhone.
Wow, it's so tiny. I mean, look at this.
In 2005, Dutch software designer Bas Ording was at Apple designing software experiments for a multi-touch screen, figuring out how you would navigate a computer without a keyboard, mouse, or stylus, just touching things with your finger.
We had to think about, like, how can you type on it, or how can you manipulate images on it, or those kind of things.
Are you saying that the idea of the touch screen came before anyone started putting it on a phone?
Right, yeah, it was before the phone. And at some point, I think probably Steve thought like, oh, this would be great to put on a phone. So that's when we went in that direction.
Yeah, what is the meaning of this swipe? Am I moving this? Part of what made the iPhone a hit was that objects in that touchscreen world have their own physics. That's cool. You can thank Boss Ording for some of it, like how lists have momentum when you flick them, or how they do a little bounce when you get to the end. And now 1 billion people are using your idea.
Is it 1 billion? That's a lot. That's okay. Wow, that's
I mean, does that ever freak you out?
A little bit, I guess, if you really think about it that way. But it's also pretty cool, I guess. If people like to use it, then I think that's a good thing. So.
Did anyone at the time on this team have any idea how big this could be?
Oh, no, not at all. I didn't, for sure.
What's great about the iPhone is that if you want to check snow conditions on the mountain, there's an app for that.
A year after the iPhone came out, Apple introduced the App Store, a central catalog of free or cheap little programs written by programmers all over the world. That's when iPhone sales really went through the stratosphere.
And if you want to check where exactly you parked the car, there's even an app for that.
And just those apps have launched entire industries. Think of Uber, the ride-sharing company valued at $68 billion. Or Instagram, which Facebook bought in 2012 for $1 billion. These days, of course, the iPhone isn't the only game in town.
Hey, man.
Oh, hey.
How's it going? Saved you a spot. I moved on. But you're not going to miss all this?
I got the Samsung GS3 now.
In 2008, Google created a look-alike phone design called Android, which it gives away to phone makers. Today, Android phones outsell the iPhone. A lot of people say since Steve Jobs died 6 years ago, they don't have this idea man anymore. Is Apple sunsetting now? Are they done with innovation?
How often can you come out with something that changes the world? I mean, we're all unfair perhaps in the media sometimes. Oh, they haven't had a hit lately. Well, who else has had a hit lately?
So on its 10th birthday, it's time to ask, where does the iPhone fall on the scale of humanity's greatest inventions? Is it right up there with the television? The car? Electricity? Fire? Hard to say, but millions of people would agree the iPhone changed everything.
We don't have Steve Jobs around to ask. We would all be getting interviews with him now because of the 10th anniversary, but I don't think he foresaw the hugeness of it, and I don't think anybody did.
It happened on Tuesday, the end of an era, the day the Blackberry entered the history books. At its peak in 2013, there were some 85 million Blackberry subscribers worldwide. But the pioneering and hugely popular mobile device was pushed aside by iPhones and other high-tech options. And this past week, Blackberry pulled the plug and shut down service for good. Once again, the Blackberry is just a fruit, but really good for you. It's often our first reaction when someone is missing. We pick up the phone and try to connect. Lee Cowan explores the healing power of a long-distance call.
In a corner of the Pacific Northwest, muffled by moss and trees that are centuries old, sits an out-of-place relic, a rotary phone that's connected to nothing except the wind.
Hey, Ellie Belly. How are you? I miss you, little girl.
Every few weeks, Andre and Aaron Sylvester and the rest of their young family
Hey, baby.
trudge out to Priest Point Park outside Olympia, Washington, to use that phone to call Joelle, their 4-year-old daughter.
Oh, this never gets easier.
Without warning, Joelle died last year from an infection.
I love you, Joelle.
But out here, Joelle is somehow there, on the other end of the line.
Literally, I can hear her.
Right, baby. I always feel lighter, ready to go back into the real world of, without my daughter.
The phone mysteriously appeared shortly after Joelle died.
No one was here, and I thought this might be a good place, so I...
Put there by photographer and amateur carpenter Corey Dembeck as his way to grieve.
Yeah, I just couldn't imagine if something like that happened to my daughter, and it just was something I had to do. Am I behind you? Am I behind you?
One of his own daughters was friends with Joelle. She's now 5.
I don't think I really got how many people would really needed something like this.
For weeks that phone was there and few knew, but then word quietly spread. Soon complete strangers were braving the northwest rain, making the longest of long-distance calls. Lori Provo was one of them.
When you're grieving, you look for any avenue to try to connect that you can, to make that emotional connection. And that's what the telephone, I thought, would do for me.
And did it?
It did. It did. Hi, Tyler. It's Mom.
She lost her 27-year-old son, Tyler, last year.
I'll be back to talk to you again. Of course, it's very emotional. As soon as you pick up the phone, the tears flow. And I've been out here several times, and it's been the same experience every time. I have Kleenex in my pocket. You can't explain why the emotions are flowing as soon as you pick up that phone, but they do.
The desire to connect with lost loved ones is universal, especially when the end comes so fast. In 2011, in the wake of Japan's devastating tsunami, survivors started flocking to this small phone booth high on a hill, put there months earlier by a man who just wanted to talk to his cousin, who had died of cancer.
もしもし。もしもし。じいちゃん、今元気？僕さ、3学期越したらもう4年生になるよ。早いでしょ。来年2年生になるからね。
For all the lost souls who the sea never returned, that phone of the wind became one of the few places to offer a kind of inexplicable solace.
みんな4人とも家族全員頑張ってるから心配しなくていいよ。
That idea had blown across the Pacific. Corey heard about it, and it stuck, for reasons he still doesn't know.
I just thought that it would be perfect for now, and as far as I know, there wasn't one that I knew of in the United States.
Much to his surprise, that old phone helped Corey, too.
When my mom passed away, I never really dealt with it, I guess. Hey, Mom, it's me.
The impulse to call her, he says, just came out of nowhere.
I miss you. I guess I'll talk to you later. All right, bye. Love you.
It makes no logical sense to dial a phone connected to nothing. And yet, for the Sylvesters and countless others, speaking their grief to the wind seems to offer a certain kind of connection that heals.
I think one of the most dangerous things that you can do to yourself is to keep your feelings, whatever they are, locked up inside. Bye, Ellie.
Bye, Ellie.
I love you. Something so simple, an old rotary phone on a tree. It's just crazy how much impact that has.
Whispers in the wind. You might not hear them unless you listen.
Oh, did you?